It's the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion. This is for Wednesday, September the 11th. I'm Michael Groff. It's another hot and dry day here in the valley, but we'll see hazy skies and some areas of smoke coming in here by later this morning and this afternoon, thanks to wildfires across Southern California. We're still looking at a major pattern change to take place later this week and this weekend. Breezy to windy conditions at times. And the big story is cooler temperatures. And we will eventually see an end to our long streak of 100-degree high temperatures here in Phoenix, likely to occur either this weekend or almost for sure by early next week. And as an added bonus, we also have some rain chances to talk about as well. But as is always the case, there is forecast uncertainty, and we'll try to figure it all out as we dive on in and discuss. First, the almanac from yesterday, 110 degrees, the afternoon high. Yes, we did it again. Overnight low of 83. 102 and 80 are those averages for this time of year. And looking at it now, that's 61 days for the year with a high temperature at or above 110 degrees. And we could get there today, but I would say yesterday is more than likely the last time that we've had a high of 110 plus. And we're still on that consecutive streak, 107 consecutive days with a high temperature at or above 100. And so that will continue for a few more days. All right. Looking outside right now, 5:45 a.m., we've got 82 degrees under clear sky at Sky Harbor. Not a bad start to the day, but it is very dry. Dew point at 38, humidity 19%, a light wind, and the barometer is steady. The upper level weather pattern across the nation right now shows troughing coming into the Pacific Northwest. That is suppressing our ridge that's been so dominant here across the Southwest, pushing it toward the south and west off the Southern California and Baja coast. And the flow aloft is switching more out of the west and northwest, and that's going to direct some of that wildfire smoke here toward Arizona today. What you also notice on here is Hurricane Francine. It's sitting out there over the northwest Gulf of Mexico. That will make landfall later today, and we'll talk about that in more detail here. That watch warning map, you can see those hurricane warnings in effect for the Louisiana coast into parts of Mississippi. Tropical storm conditions expected eastward toward the coast of Alabama. And storm surge watches are obviously in effect there, and flood watches. And at some point, I do anticipate they're going to issue some tornado watches for this along and east of that circulation center, because that is going to be a potential from southeast Louisiana through southern central Mississippi and probably southwest west central Alabama as this continues to make its way northeastward today and tonight. Now, out here in the western states, red flag warnings aplenty, because we have active wildfires in effect, and we also have the potential for more with low humidity, warm temperatures, breezy to windy conditions as this trough makes its way on in. We have wind advisories for Southern California, some air quality alerts scattered about the western states, and that actually extends out into the plains, those red flag warnings too, the Dakotas and Nebraska. Windy conditions, and it's that time of the year. It's dry, it's still warm, and it's windy. And that sets the stage for those wildfires. The convective outlook for today, the standard slight risk of severe storms, southeast Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southwest Alabama, coast of Alabama. So New Orleans, Biloxi, Mobile, all with that potential for those tornadoes with any sort of landfalling tropical cyclone. That's always a concern. And even that marginal risk extends north from there. Speaking of, we've got a marginal risk well to the north of Arizona, up around Boise, Idaho, and over toward Great Falls, Montana. The Intermountain West, with that potential of severe storms, with that trough coming into the Pacific Northwest. But all of that stays well to the north of us. The tropics and the Atlantic Basin, there's a couple of areas of disturbed weather out there in the western and central Atlantic, and there's a possibility those develop, but we have a long time to watch those. Right now, the primary concern is Hurricane Francine. Top winds at 90 miles per hour. And as this continues to track to the northeast, it should be making landfall later this afternoon on the Louisiana coast. Again, somewhere pretty close to or just west of New Orleans, between Morgan City and New Orleans. And not much change in the overall thinking. The people want to know this will probably be an upper end category 1, low end category 2 at the time of landfall. And obviously, storm surge is the initial immediate concern, inundation, the lowland flooding, all of that sort of thing. and the strong damaging winds, which will likely be in the 90 to 100 mile per hour sustained wind bracket, and we could see some wind gusts obviously higher than that. Then after that, the main concern is heavy rain and the potential of flooding for southeast Louisiana, southern central Mississippi, and west central southwest Alabama. And along and east of that circulation center, the potential for a few tornadoes also. And there you can see the satellite presentation on Francine. And obviously this has gotten a bit better organized despite the fact that it's still undergoing some shear. And you can see there's a lot of deeper convection off to the north and east of that feature as evidence. So that shear is still probably preventing this from becoming a much stronger storm than it otherwise would have been. Out in the eastern Pacific, we do have an area of disturbed weather here too, an area of concern developing off of the southwest Mexican coast. And that feature could be relevant to our weather as it continues to track to the north and west and takes a position somewhere close to the Baja. Now, does it develop into a tropical cyclone? Well, the Hurricane Center does give it a decent chance of doing that. And at least part of this system, some of the moisture in part or in full could come northward toward the southwest United States. Obviously, there's a lot of moving parts, and we're going to have to keep an eye on this situation, see how it develops. But this could add additional moisture into the region for this weekend and early next week for an enhanced rainfall outlook here, which, well, let's talk about that now. This is the precipitation outlook valid through Wednesday morning of next week. Rain amounts in Phoenix have continued to trend up, now over 1/2 inch here. And so that's good news. We really desperately need the rain after this monsoon that we had. And as I talked about on yesterday's video, any rainfall that we get here from this would technically be counted into the monsoon total, even though this is not a monsoon pattern. But it doesn't matter. Whatever you want to call it, I'll take the rain. A rose by any other name, right? So at least the potential for a 1/2 inch of rain. And obviously, we could get more than what's shown here. It really depends on how things play out. And speaking of that, we will talk about it now as we get to the models, see what the future may hold. Here we go. This is the GFS. It's the 06Z run, and it's valid at 2 o'clock this afternoon. There you see Francine tracking up toward the Gulf Coast. You've got this area, this trough here in the Pacific Northwest. And the heights are coming down here across the Southwest. Now, despite that, the air is still very dry. And so what it means for us down at the surface for the rest of the day today, sunny. I still think it's going to be hot. I say sunny, but keep in mind that we will have some haze and even some areas of smoke drifting in here this afternoon, courtesy of those wildfires across Southern California, thanks to the west-northwesterly flow aloft. So even though the Department of Environmental Quality has not issued an air quality alert as of yet, if you are an asthma sufferer, you have respiratory issues, allergies, all of that, probably best to avoid being outdoors as much as possible this afternoon, just because, especially for you very sensitive folks like myself that have, you're more prone to those respiratory issues. I would probably do my best to avoid being out there in that as much as possible for this afternoon. Keep in mind that will be an issue. Maybe some areas of reduced visibility, particularly to the north and west of us. Otherwise, that might help to hold down temperatures an extra degree or two. Our forecast a little bit uncertain with high temperatures. I'd say anywhere from 103 to 109, depending on how much smoke there is around here. Now for tonight, we'll see some areas of smoke in the evening. Otherwise, we're mostly clear with lows generally in the 70s for most of us, low 80s in the urban core. And then tomorrow, it's really more of the same, breezy, mostly sunny, but not quite as warm. I'd say highs probably somewhere between about 102 to 106, and we'll subtract another degree or two on Friday as that trough lifts off to the north and east out into Canada. But heights continue to trend down here, and afternoon highs, again, should be around 100 to 104. All right, let's go to the weekend. Another trough is beginning to approach the west coast. The flow aloft is more southerly to southwesterly, and we're going to see some moisture being drawn northward across northwest Mexico and moving into southern Arizona about that time for some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms possible by the afternoon on Saturday and certainly Saturday night. I think here in Phoenix, the majority of the day on Saturday stays dry, but the atmosphere will become more moist and unstable with time. And so by Saturday night and early Sunday morning, I expect a few showers and thunderstorms to be possible here in the south central deserts, including Phoenix. As for high temperatures on Saturday, with increasing clouds and moisture and the upper heights coming down as we're now out of the influence of that ridge, highs will probably just be in the upper 90s to about 102. I still think we're going to squeak past 100 officially in Phoenix, but maybe not everybody does, so it'll be close there. Sunday, scattered showers and thunderstorms are likely thanks to this trough beginning to encroach further and some tropical moisture being pulled northward. How much remains to be seen. How intense this little wave down there off the coast of Mexico becomes, whether it becomes a tropical storm or not, yeah, that will have some influence over how much moisture is also advected on up here. And I think the majority of the precipitation would be confined to the higher terrain, but certainly some scattered showers and storms will be around the deserts on Sunday, so be aware of that. And with additional clouds and rain chances, high temperatures will trend down just a little further. We expect highs somewhere between about 95 to 100. So could this be the day where we break our streak of 100 degrees? Maybe. Going to Monday, still a slight chance of showers and storms around as moisture will be here. The trough continues to pass on by. And with this trough being so close to us and the heights continuing to fall, high temperatures will continue to drop off, and I think highs will be in the mid to upper 90s on Monday. So this could be where we break our streak, and if that's not the day, almost certainly Tuesday is. I'd say we have a better than 90% probability now of breaking our 100-degree streak either by Sunday, Monday, or certainly by Tuesday. Latest guidance comes in with highs in the upper 80s to low 90s. That is obviously way below average, considering Tuesday is the 17th of September, and the normal high is 100 degrees, or the average high is 100 degrees. So we would be well below that. And that is looking more and more likely. Then a week from today, this is Wednesday the 18th. How about another trough coming into the western states, and this one digging fairly far to the south for this time of year? And if that's right, yeah, we would continue with well below average temperatures, highs anywhere from about 86 to 92. And that position of that system, unless there's another tropical cyclone or some sort of deeper pool of moisture to the south of us, I don't think it's going to draw any moisture up here. Sometimes when we see a system like that in September, we would associate that with the possibility of some precipitation, one of these kind of transitional events, but I think the previous trough will have advected or pushed that moisture east of us, so there won't be much to draw up here, but obviously we're going to watch that. The main story, though, is below average temperatures, and that's glorious. All right, here's Thursday. This is the 19th of September, and again, troughing around and below average heights, so it will be breezy to windy at times, and temperatures, again, upper 80s, maybe low 90s. Oh, and the best part about this, too, is those overnight lows. I would say the majority of the valley will be down in the 60s. We haven't had lows in the 60s in a widespread basis since May, early to mid-May. And so that would be great. Maybe around 70, low 70s for the urban core, but it's going to be one of those things where, hey, you can get up early, sit out there, enjoy a cup of coffee. Going to feel great. And then going out 10 days, this is Friday the 20th. That trough is moving east. We're under a dry northwesterly flow, but temperatures would remain below average, probably bouncing back toward the low and middle 90s. But hey, for mid to late September, that's still not bad, and that's still just a couple of degrees or a few degrees shy of seasonal averages. Look at that ridge, by the way, way up into eastern Canada. And nosing up toward Greenland. My goodness, that is quite the amplified pattern, and that is reflected. You can see an anomalous trough is depicted by the GFS over the Gulf of Alaska. Holy moly. We'll have to watch that feature. All right. Looking at rainfall for Phoenix off the European ensemble. This goes out through the 25th of the month. And the ensemble mean is a little over a half inch here. There are a couple of outlying extreme members on either side. You've got a few members or several members that show nothing, of course. You've got others that are way over 2 inches of rain, and the same sort of variance exists on the GFS ensemble, again, out through the 25th. You've got one member here that's at 3 inches. You've got another member at 2 inches. You've got a couple around an inch. And then you've got a lot sort of in between. The ensemble mean continues to be up there around 3/4 of an inch. So there is still a considerable amount of uncertainty and variability among the models that we have to consider. And then looking at temperatures off the national blend of models, it's still very hot today. I don't think we make 110. And again, thanks to that smoke around too, probably not. It's still an outside chance though. But I think this would be the last day if it happens at all. And then we see that notable downtrend in highs, and look at that, low 90s early next week off the NBM. And again, there are some of our models that don't even have us getting to 90 on Tuesday. Either way, refreshingly cooler temperatures. I know, hard to believe, refreshingly cool with highs in the low 90s. But after the summer we've just endured, yeah, you better believe that's refreshing. And those overnight lows are going to be great too. Maybe around 70 in the urban core, and many of us down in the 60s. And that's going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video is due back here tomorrow morning. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, then be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell, leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. And if you really like what we do here, then go ahead and click that thanks icon below the video. Make those monetary contributions to us, $2, $5, $879,608.19, or any of those amounts in between. That's great. We'd appreciate that. Or you can donate via PayPal directly to us like Mary did yesterday. We appreciate that. groffshow@gmail.com is the address on PayPal. It's GROFF show@gmail.com for PayPal. The executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my one and only, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation and proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name. It's called Sweet Child Arizona. Talking about my Michelle. Check her out. Check out everything Michelle related linked up down in the description. And speaking of things linked in the description, also check out our streaming station, available 24/7, 365 for your listening pleasure. It is called KMGX. We play a ton of music and have a lot of fun with that. So give that a listen. All right, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. Please be safe. Stay cool. Stay hydrated out there. And have yourselves a beautiful rest of your Wednesday.